If Armageddon came today, would you be ready?
Forget about that 401k. You better be able to survive doomsday.
Let's go. We're bugging out.
Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream tonight. As you've all probably guessed because of the thumbnail and everything, I finally got my bug out bag put together, at least version 1 of it anyway. I've done a couple videos here in the past of what I was going to put in there, and then I did a review of the bag, and I finally got it filled with what I think is going to be, what I need, and as well how it's all organized in there. I've got a video I recorded yesterday that I'm going to play here tonight before I put it on YouTube, put some lipstick on the pig and put it on YouTube. I'm going to play it here during the live stream tonight. It's just a basic version of it, but it goes through the bag. I figured it would be better doing it that way than me trying to, fit everything on screen. So we're also going to be going over some survival knives, some fixed blade knives, basically, and not necessarily the high end. What I titled it was, or I've got an article that I titled the best fixed blade knife for you. It's not necessarily the most high end, the best materials, all that. It's really dependent on your needs and how often you're going to use it. I know Misreading the River's in the chat right now. He's got some high class tastes when it comes to some of this stuff. The stuff that I have is not that high level stuff, but he's got a defined situation and he knows exactly what he needs, and he probably uses a knife a lot more than most people would. So we'll go through that as well. The cool thing about me playing that video while we're doing it live is I can actually pay attention in the chat a little bit. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or suggestions, anything like that with the bag, then I can actually get those. I can read those and pay attention a little bit and then talk about them after that video is over. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to give an update real quick on my garden. Oh, one other thing, too. White Rabbit had mentioned in the chat before the show started the patches, the morale patch I have on the back of this bag. I do have those for sale at the SHTF shop. I've only got about 10 left. But White Rabbit, if you send me an email, you don't have to worry about going through the SHTF shop. Just send me an email and I'll get you hooked up. You've been around and a good fan for a long time. So I won't take your money anyway. So all I need is some shipping information and all that stuff. But yes, I do have a couple of those. I have a couple other ones as well. But let's get into I've got a couple pictures of the harvest that we had. And this is only about half of the stuff we got from the garden so far. A lot of freaking squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash. There's still 8 to 10 out there, I think. Lisa's got a few. They're called strawberry squash, something like that. Lisa, next year, I'm kicking her out of the garden because her pumpkins are gigantic. She decided to grow the biggest ones that she could find. They're gigantic, and they basically took over everything. We got this picture right here as well, which is just a few more of the same thing, more squash. Acorn squash. I've also got corn in there. Don't have pictures of that because as soon as that was ready, we ate it. Same with the pole beans. I've got carrots that are still growing in there. And I also have a couple of these watermelons. And I thought that these little tiny watermelons, they basically fit in the palm of your hand. I was cussing these out because I thought they were going to grow into these big giant pumpkins or watermelons because we didn't label the seeds. And actually these, I forget what they're called, but this is the actual size they're supposed to be. They're like high society, individual little watermelons. That's not what I wanted. I want the big, I want watermelons the size that she had of her pumpkins. So, but next year I've got bigger plans for this. Like I said, I kicked Lisa out of the garden. And in our yard, I could not, for some reason this spring, I've been trying to plant grass in this section of my yard for 3 years now. Had it growing a little bit last year. And then this year, with no spring or anything, just completely crapped out on me. So what I'm going to do next year is this is all going to be garden. I'm going to till this up, put some fertilizer and stuff down. I don't know if I'm going to do the raised bed type thing yet. But I'm going to use this. And the good thing about doing this back here in the backyard that I have all fenced off is that the dogs can patrol the area as well. So I don't have to worry about the deer getting back there too much anyway, squirrels and stuff like that. So I'll be able to plant. This is where I'm telling Lisa, if you're going to plant all those damn pumpkins, you're doing it out here. So at any rate, that's the update on the garden. This year I only used 3 of our 6 raised beds because I was just testing some things out. And then in 2 of them, I covered it so the deer couldn't get in there, and that worked pretty well. So next year, like I said, we're not having any pumpkins in there. I'm going to plant a lot of corn in there. I'm going to try in this part of my yard that just looks horrible right now, I'm going to try the 3 Sisters method with planting and see how that works. So it'll be a lot of corn, probably some pumpkins and all that stuff over there. I figured with with the whole talk of the food crisis and the shortages and all that, next year is a good time to try to do that stuff that we can stuff that is that I can actually put away and have it last for a while. I'm not a big fan of squash, so having this much squash and zucchini just doesn't float my boat so much. So at any rate, what we could do now, I'm going to play this video. It's a little bit over 20 minutes, and it goes through my bag and all that. And then we'll get into some of the fixed blades knife stuff after that. But like I said, I'll be in the chat. I'll be kind of scanning through there. Maybe I'll comment a couple times and just kind of if you guys have any thoughts or suggestions or anything like that, let me know in there, and I'll try to grab those and we'll pull them up on screen. So at any rate, let me play this video now. All right, so let's go through the loadout I have for my bug out bag. This is the AMP 72 from 511 Tactical. I've done a couple videos on this already. I did a video of me going through the supplies for my old bug out bag and what I was going to keep and what I might not put in here. Then I did a review of this bag when it was empty and showed you all the compartments and all of that. And today what I want to do is show you what I did, how I filled it. And keep in mind with this is version 1 of this bug out bag. I haven't gone out and tested it and figured out, where I need to put things, what I'm missing, what I might not need. I will be doing that, and then I'll be doing a video in the future as well. We're going to do a field day is what I told Lisa, where we're going to go out and use it, probably go on a camping trip. But I have used it a couple of times, just wearing it just to see how comfortable it was, how the weight was going to affect me. This is 27 pounds right now with the hydration bladder and the Nalgene bottle full, which is around 4 liters. So 27 pounds isn't bad. I was aiming for around 20, and this is where I got. So, and I think this is pretty good. Like I said, it's version 1. Things change. I might change what I want in here. They may come out with some new fancy stuff that I just absolutely have to have. So over time, bug out bags always change with what's in them and what stays and what goes. But let's go ahead and go through this. Right off the bat, we'll just start with the top and the sides, and then we'll work our way inside. This patch right here, I'm not sure if it's going to stay or go. Got this from a friend of mine, a prepper friend of mine. Says rub some dirt on it. But you can put a patch on it if you want. Otherwise, it's just the 511 design there. You could also put patches down here, although if it's anything on here that you don't want to fall off, like a pouch or something, I would hook it through this hex system right here and make sure it stays on there. But a patch, if you're not too worried about it, it's going to work just fine. I decided like the last video I did, I had the 2 packs that I got from 511, and I decided to put those on the inside, so this hex grid is still on the outside. What I might do with this is actually put my trauma kit on here, and I'm not sure if the color difference is going to bother me. It probably will, but so I might actually just get something from 511 the same color. But for now, this trauma pack will go on the outside right here. Another thing that I thought about that could go on this outside is my survival knife here, my fixed blade knife. It's got this strap right here, so I could actually put this through in the mesh system or in the hex grid system and fasten my knife back there if I wanted. This is probably going to be on my hip though, so I don't know that it would be there. But just a kind of a cool feature to have. If you didn't want this on there and you just wanted the Velcro, like I said in one of the last videos, you can take this whole hex grid off and you have just flat Velcro right there. And you can put that on the inside here wherever you wanted to. There's Velcro all over the place on this pack. All right, so this first pocket up here is the concealed carry pouch. And this one, I don't have a gun in there, but I'll show you here. Like with this practice gun of mine, you can throw something in there. There's plenty of room for it. And this isn't an overly tactical backpack, so you probably couldn't tell. My thing, though, is I probably won't use this pouch for that because this, well, not this one, but a gun will be on my hip rather than in this pouch. Same thing with the knife. So what I would probably use this for is maps, and I've got topographic maps that are on the way from mytopo.com. Maybe put some maps or something flat inside this pouch right here would work pretty good. This pocket down here, I don't have much in right now, and this shares the bottom with the inside of the pack, so whatever you have in there is going to limit the amount of space you can use out here. I would be careful, since this is the bottom, you hit it on the ground, I would be careful what you put in here. But for me right now, all I have in here is just this contractor's yard bag. Contractor's yard bags are good to have, I think, because they're kind of that multi-purpose thing. Could be used as a tarp, could be used as cover, could be used as, you know, a rain jacket. I mean, a bunch of different things. As preppers, we love the multi-purpose stuff. I want to put as many things like this in there as I possibly can, because in a MacGyver type situation where you've got to figure stuff out, it's good to have a lot of different options that, you know, that you can put together, kind of like MacGyver did with chewing gum, a paper clip, and a rubber band. So that's the front right here. This pocket up on top is a felt lined pocket. I don't have anything in here right now. You could put sunglasses in there, a cell phone, whatever you wanted in that pouch that you wanted protected. So with that, we'll go to, I'll take off these compression straps and we'll go to the side. These compression straps, these top ones aren't real tight yet because I still have to put a little bit of clothing in here. We're coming into winter, so I wanted pants, a shirt, maybe an extra pair of socks, some underwear, stuff like that I'll put in the top up here. So these aren't tightened yet. Once I get that in there, I'll make sure that they're tightened up. But in this side pocket right here, this is the side that I have the water bottle in, so I don't have anything in this pocket on the outside over here. They share a sleeve, so you've kind of got to figure out where you want that stuff to be. Like on this side right here, if I can find the zipper, I've got my folding saw, and that's the only thing on the outside of this pocket right here. And it, like I said, it shares the inside of that, so you can see this is kind of tight right here. I'll put that back later so I get everything figured out. Take these compression straps off. So that's the two side pockets right there. Now with this clamshell design, let me open this up. And this is the compartment that you could put, it's kind of designed for putting a short-barreled rifle into it. Get this on camera. Over on this side, you could put, you know, your short-barreled rifle. Me, it's my AR pistol. I'm not going to use that, this pocket right now anyway, for that purpose. Now, in a bug-out situation, maybe. Right now, though, anything flat that you had, you could put back here, right? I've got my SAM splint right here, which instead of having it rolled up, I just keep it flat back here. Again, a couple of different options for putting stuff back here, but I kind of wanted to keep this open because in a situation, I'd want to have room for this and I wouldn't want to have to sacrifice anything. So I wanted to keep this part open. Get this back in the picture. Okay, so now what we'll do, get that out of the way, is we'll go to the inside of the pouch. And one of the things I liked about this is if you wanted to get to your stuff at the top or your stuff at the bottom, it's got a 4 zipper design out here. So you can unzip down here, you can reach in the side. Same thing with this side, you can unzip right here and get in the side. Up here on top, you could just open this up. And get to whatever's in this pouch up here, and I've got this pouch back here. So you can just reach into the top, or you can reach into the sides. This pouch right here, let me open this all the way up. This pouch right here is that stuff that I'd want to get to first. So I've got a cat tourniquet in here, I've got a headlamp in here, and I've got a bandana in here. I do have a schmog on the way too, which will probably go up here. But this is the stuff that I'd want to be able to reach at a moment's notice. So also have a P38 can opener, because you can, I think I have 2 of these in here as well. Not that I'm carrying any canned food or anything like that, but this is so small and so lightweight, it's kind of a, you know, why not? Again, one of those MacGyver things, you never know. Let me move this over a little bit. So inside the bag itself, I wanted to, what I did was put all the sleeping stuff towards the bottom, and then the other stuff right here in the middle. I've got this first aid kit on the side because I can just open up the top and I can grab that from the top. This first aid kit has got just all the basic stuff you would need. It's got a stitch strip, I've got steri strips, I've got gauze pads, ace wraps, and gloves in there, just a whole bunch of just that basic first aid stuff you might need for those, I suppose, everyday injuries. And then I've got a little bit of the SOS bars. This is 3 days worth. I didn't want to put, I mean, Mountain House is much better and stuff like that, but I wanted something that I wasn't going to need water, I wasn't going to need to cook, I could just eat it while I'm walking, and these fit the bill. It is a little bit heavy, but as far as having to carry gear to cook and all that stuff, I figured this was decent. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts as well. And then I've got this, my Goal Zero solar panel, and this is just a really small solar panel. I can't remember how many watts this is. I think it's like 12. But this is a really small solar panel, and I've got the battery back here that is 2,700 milliamp hours that during the day, I can charge this battery. If I were to just take this pack and I was walking around with it to figure out how to attach it to this pack back here, point the point the solar panels towards the sun, and as you're walking around during the day, it will charge this battery if you just hook it up back here. So just something small, something simple. That works pretty well. I only have a couple things in here that are going to need to be charged. I've got my flashlight and some batteries from my ham radio and my cell phone. So not a lot. So I think this Goal Zero will do pretty well. In one day, it will almost charge up this whole battery to 100% on a sunny day. So that's pretty decent. And then before I get into this stuff, I wanted to talk about the 2 pouches up here. And these are the 2 pouches that I said I could have put out here side by side, but I decided to put them in here, and I will use this hex grid for some sort of trauma kit, something outside that I can get to real quick, whether that's the one I have or the one I buy. But this top pouch here is basically my, it's sort of miscellaneous stuff and my water filtration stuff. So in this, I've got my Sawyer Mini. I've got, here, let me close this so we can put it all right here. Got my Sawyer Mini. I've got my sewing kit. I've got this water purification stuff. I've got Aquamira in there. I've got some, I call them toilet paper towels. Basically, they're paper towels. You put a couple drops of water on them and they turn into paper towels. But I've also got some handy wipes, some tent stakes. And I know you can make your own tent stakes, but I think it's just easier just to have them. And then I've got a little knife sharpener right here, a little cheesy knife sharpener. So that is that pouch up top. Stuff that, you know, that stuff I can get to without having to pull everything out of the bag. And then put this back on here. And then this pouch underneath there is where I've got my fire starting supplies. And in here, In a waterproof bag, I've got my matches, these are jute twine, waxed jute twine. I've got some matches in there, a lighter. This wet fire stuff is pretty good. It makes getting a fire lit really easy. I don't know if you can see that. Got to figure out where the camera is. There we go. But this wet fire stuff is pretty cool. Then I've got a signal mirror in here, which is, not necessarily for fire starting, but if I had to, I'd be pretty dire straits if I had to use a mirror to start a fire. I've also got a Forenza lens that I need to put in here. And then my ferro rod. And this is a decent ferro. This is a really good ferro rod. Nice and soft, a large ferro rod. Throws sparks really easily. I'm not going to do that too many times. I don't want to start everything on fire before I finish the video. But so I've got my fire starting stuff in here. And it's all put together. It's all organized, so I don't have to, try to figure out where I kept it and all of that. So I'll move this stuff out of the way, put this back, and we'll start going through this other stuff. All right, so I've got this emergency bivvy right here. This is not something this is probably something that's going to, maybe 1, 2, 3 uses, depending on what you do with it. I wanted this in here because it's sort of like an emergency blanket, except it's you put yourself into it, kind of like you wrap yourself up like a burrito. It could be used for bedding. If you're on the ground, you'd throw a bunch of leaves in it and turn it into sort of a survival mattress. So that's pretty decent. Nothing I would depend on. It's kind of a life-saving thing, but nothing that's going to last you a while. With that, I also have this rain poncho, and this is a pretty large rain poncho. And that's because I wanted something that was really durable. Out here in Colorado, you just never know from one day to the next if you're going to get rain, snow, sunshine. 1 hour to the next. Sometimes here in Colorado, you just never know. So I wanted something that was pretty high quality. I wanted something that would cover me and the bag as well. You can also get covers for your bags that basically, it's just a cover for the backpack that will keep it waterproof. But I wanted something like this because keeping dry is super important. And then I've got a hammock, and this is one of those things that may change in the future. I thought about, like I said, with this bivvy, this is an emergency bivvy. There's actually pretty nice bivvies that lay on the ground. It's basically like a tent, couple $100, but they're really nice. So if I do switch, I'll probably go to something like that. I'll have to see the weight. I'll have to try it out. But this, for now, I've been using hammocks my whole life, and I just really I don't like being on the ground. I like being above the ground. So that kind of fits the bill right there. Along with that, I've got this rain fly, which is a Yukon Outfitters rain fly. And this isn't the greatest rain fly. I mean, this isn't the greatest sort of tarp or, to build a lean-to or something. But I've watched a few videos on these, and I've looked at some reviews. And for the price, this is a lot more durable and better than a lot of people give it credit for. I've seen a couple videos. One guy went through a hailstorm using this as sort of a lean-to. And it was like a 5 or 10 minute hailstorm with nickel quarter-size hail. And it survived with the grommets on the corners and everything. So, and it kept him dry. So I'm pretty confident that this is good. But again, it would be something that possibly could get upgraded in the future. I'm going to take this out and test it. I'll probably do a video on it as well here in the next couple weeks. Test this and see what my thoughts are as far as using it as a lean-to shelter. And I'll even show you on top of the hammock. As far as the clothes and stuff, right now, all I have are a pair of long underwear and a pair of wool socks because we are heading into winter right now. So I wanted this stuff in there. Like I said, I'm going to get in the top of this bag or I'm going to utilize the space that I still have left in here for some kind of shirt, jacket, pair of pants, socks, underwear, stuff like that. So stuff that I can, that's going to keep me the warmest and it's going to be light enough that it's not going to add a whole lot of weight. So with that, let's do these side pockets and then we'll get into this. This side pocket, the only thing I have on this side is the water bottle. And on this side, I have some bank line and I have some paracord. Probably going to get a little bit more paracord. This is about 75 feet, and I'd like to have a little bit more. But this is 120 feet of bank line right here, so plenty of cordage. And that's one of those, these are consumable items, so you just can never have enough. You never know how much you're going to need. So I like to keep the bank line takes up less room, and I like the bank line, and you can tie knots a little bit better with that bank line as well. Then I also have the antenna in this pocket for my Baofang radio. This is a Nagoya antenna, and the antenna that comes with the Baofang is you're not going to get very good reception at all. So if you have one, I'd recommend getting this Baofang antenna. I'll throw that back in there. All right, so let me move this over so we make sure and get in here. In this little secret pocket right here, I don't have anything in it yet. But like I said before, you could stash... Oh, I do have something in there. What do I have in there? Oh, just some coffee. You always got to have coffee. These are... I got these from... Lisa got it from one of her doctor friends. And these are Korean, so I have no idea what kind they are. But I know they're coffee, so... have those in there. I think I just put those in there just to put them in there. But you could use this pocket for, you know, maybe cash or something that you didn't want people to find, because it's kind of hard to see that there's actually a pocket in there. All right, so the two sides here, and this, like I said, if you wanted to open this up just using this one zipper from the side, you can open it up, reach in there. You can get in this side, or you can reach in and get in this side. The pocket goes all the way through. In here, I have some waterproof paper, because you just never know. Maybe, I mean, most of the time in a bug out situation, you're probably trying to hide from people, but there may be situations where you actually do need this to get a note to somebody. I've got a mechanical pencil here. I like the mechanical pencil because it's got the fine point, and it's easier when you get on the topographic maps. It's easier to be more exact with everything, I suppose. In here, I've got a couple paper clips on this keychain hook, another P38 can opener. I've got my base plate compass, and if you don't know how to use a base plate compass, I'd highly recommend it because it's a lot more accurate. Like I said, I'm getting my topographic maps. It's a lot more accurate than just relying on a regular compass. It's not very hard to learn, but there's a lot more to it than just a regular compass. Also, I've got this little flashlight, and I believe this is a Kodiak flashlight. And I like this because it's rechargeable. So basically, like I said, with this solar panel, I've got the charger in here. I can hook this up. Oops. I can hook this up to the charging port here, and then take this battery, plug it into the battery, and then I get some juice from it. So if I need to recharge this, I don't know how many amp hours this little flashlight is, but I like it because it's really small, it's lightweight, and it's pretty bright. For any flashlight that I have this size, the highest setting, it's brighter than any flashlight I have. Now it's got 3 different settings. It's got the super bright, the medium, and then the low. So I would probably keep it on the low setting, you know, round camp or whatever. But I like this flashlight mainly because of the size and because it's rechargeable. I don't want to carry a lot of batteries around. With the batteries, though, I have my Baofang radio, and this is where I was saying the antenna. You put that Nagoya antenna on there. For the life of me, I cannot find the battery pack I have for this. And I will find that, or I'll buy a new one, but it's basically, it's like an extended pack, and I believe it's 4 or 6 double A's in there. You can get Eneloop batteries, ENELOOP batteries that are double A's, and if you get a little USB charger, I could actually charge those with this as well. So I am going to get that and put that in here. Another option is I've got a couple of these, just these little battery packs that I could put in here, and it would take up less room than the double A's and then the charger. So that's another option as well. The one thing with these, with the charging of these things, I need to keep this up keep this charged. I need to keep this charged. Cell phones. Those are the three things that I would need this solar panel for. Let's see. Also in here, I've got some just a little roll of duct tape. You never know when you're going to need some duct tape. May even get one more of those, a little bit more. Over here in this little pocket, I've got some extra lead. I've got a multi-tool, and this is mainly just because one of those, like I said, the MacGyver thing, you just never know what sort of tool you might need, the pliers, all sorts of different things. So I figure I don't carry a multi-tool on me a lot because I just don't, there's not a lot of opportunity for my lifestyle that I'd need one, but I do want one in the bag. And then finally in here, I've just got some bug repellent. And this, I've got room for a few other things in here as well, so this may change. But for now, this is what I have in here. So I think that's it. I went through most of the stuff here. This pocket, the side pockets, the top pocket, the concealed carry pocket, these two pouches. Like I said, 511 makes some other attachments that I may get, some sort of trauma kit attachment, and then, you know, maybe something that takes up this whole thing, or maybe something that's side to side. But like these right here, I like to keep those in there. But that's basically it. Like I said, this is version 1 of this bag. I plan on taking this out, using it, seeing how it works, how the way I have everything set up works. Like, do I need something towards the top that I'm going to use more, or is there something up top that I don't use very much and put down here? I've tested this a few times. I've walked around, went and walked the dogs, walked around the neighborhood for about an hour at a time, and it's pretty comfortable. It doesn't, 27 pounds isn't bad at all. Granted, an hour is a lot different than 4 or 5 hours. So once I do that field test type thing, the field day thing with Lisa, I'll be able to know more, and then I'll do a video on that as well, and what I decided to change and what I decided to keep and all of that. So with that, that's it for today. If you have any questions, make sure and leave them in the comment section. All right, so one thing I did forget on that, and then I did write down a few comments you guys were making in the chat too. One was, I think it was Misreading the River, and Brandon and Eric were talking about walking and getting into shape and all that. And that's one of the things that I plan on doing with this more often, for two reasons: to kind of test out the bag, and to get into just get into shape, the cardiovascular stuff, not necessarily the Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff, but just get used to that hoofing it type situation, and it's good for your health as well. One thing that I forgot to mention, and I'll have to put it on this screen right here, that I do plan on putting in here, is this little, let me move the microphone so you can hear me. This little bright strike, it's a perimeter alarm, basically. And I'm not going to keep this whole kit in there. I'm just going to put this in there because, honestly, these things, I've had this thing for about 5 years, and these little sensors right here, the batteries are dead, so I'd have to buy new ones. This, you can actually replace the battery in. And what you do is, they've got some crappy fishing line in here. I would use maybe the line out of, paracord or something, but you can make a perimeter around your camp. You tie one into this. It works basically like we've seen, as preppers, we've probably seen all sorts of different triple arm things, the shotgun primers on the little, basically the same thing. You hook them up to the string, but this thing is pretty loud. Once this thing gets tripped, it would be pretty loud, and that would alert you, whether that's human animals or animals, I mean, whatever. So something like this would just, basically give me a little bit of peace of mind. It's really light, really small, and I just forgot to put it in there, but I'm not going to put this kit in there, just that alarm. And the battery is the 123 replaceable battery. So now on the comments, like I said, they were talking about walking, and that's definitely good. Let me move this microphone back. Adam asked if the bottom has straps for a sleeping bag. and it doesn't have straps for a sleeping bag. But I have seen videos where they take the side. Basically, they just kind of fashion one with a little bit of paracord or something like that. So you could put a sleeping bag or a bedroll or something like that down there, but it doesn't have anything specifically for that. So you would have to. It's possible, but you would have to figure something out. And Misreading the River was saying, Dale, I should make Dale a sil nylon tarp. I'm not sure what one of those are, or I mean, are you are you a tarp maker, or you'll have to kind of expand on that. Not sure what that was. And then Brandon put in the chat, he made the point about the water bottle, single wall bottle. You can't boil in an insulated metal bottle, and that's absolutely true. And that's why I went with that one. That is single walled. And then finally, White Rabbit said, how many liters is this bag? Impressive that the antenna fits in it. Yeah, it's a 40-liter bag, so it's pretty large, and it's it kind of longer than my other bag. My other bag was just kind of fat, more to the sides, and this one is more sleek, I suppose. So it is pretty nice, and I like the outside pockets aspect of it, even though they share a compartment, but it's kind of cool that way. So with that, I think we're done with that. If anybody does have any comments, it's a whole lot easier reading the comments while I'm playing a video. So I might do that more often in the future, because I'm trying to talk and trying to pay attention to the comments. Sometimes I miss a whole lot of stuff. So, or I misrepresent what people have said because I'm not paying attention to the conversation. So it's just a whole lot easier that way. But what I want to do is kind of go a little bit into knives. And like I said, this is more of for the, people that, aren't really, there are specific situations where you would need specific knives. And if you are that person, you know it already. Kind of like I was talking about with Misreading the River earlier. If you know what you want, you're going to know what you need to get. Most preppers, though, I don't think are really in that situation, because a lot of us, unless we're practicing or going camping and doing stuff like that, a lot of us don't get a lot of opportunity to use them, and there's not really any reason to spend $300-$400 on all of that stuff. With these knives right here, I just want to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of all these. That's why I've got this little one right here, and I'll explain the backstory on that. But a lot of us, you don't have to have, my point is, you don't have to have the fanciest knife in the world. Most of these are around, this is the most expensive one, I believe, my Rat 5, and this is around $100. And I know there's nicer ones, but for what I use this stuff for, I don't need something that's really expensive. Although if somebody gave it to me as a gift, I wouldn't turn it down. But what I tend to get as gifts are something like this, the Walmart UST Paracord Knife 4.0. Now this, and before I get into this, I want to talk about this Rambo knife, because I think a lot of preppers kind of fall into the trap of that looks cool as hell. I need and want one of those knives. This thing, let me move the mic over here so I can kind of pivot over. This was another thing that was a gift. I did not buy this. I looked this up, and I forget who makes it, but this is a $20 knife. It looks, really big and bad and all that, kind of like the Rambo thing, but I'm pretty sure it's just cheap aluminum steel. It's not full tang, because you can see right here where the knife gets connected to this. It's got the Rambo compartment back here, which I don't have anything in, but you can put stuff like that in it. This is not a knife that I would want to depend on in a survival situation. Now, home defense, you got something to grab, it's going to work better than a butter knife. But again, if just spend more than $20, I guess is my point. With this other knife, though, this one, I would take, even as cheap as this is, I would take this knife over this big knife in a heartbeat, because if that was my only choice. Otherwise, these would both stay home, because it is that full tang. I don't like the paracord handle aspect of it. I like micarta handles, or this, I forget what, Kraton. This is a rubberized synthetic rubber. But I don't like the whole paracord handle type thing. Some people may, I just don't. But this would be decent for 1 or 2 uses. But it's stainless steel, and they do this coating on it to kind of. I don't. Stainless steel doesn't really rust, so I don't know exactly what the point of the black on there is. Whereas like with my Rat 5, this has got a micarta handle, which is, I like, really good material. This is a 1095 steel, which is high carbon, and that's why they put this black coating on it, because high carbon knives tend to rust fairly easily. So, and I do like the micarta handle. I love this knife. I had thought about using this knife. This Gerber I've had forever. And it's a smaller, lighter weight knife. You can tell I've used this quite a bit, playing around and just trying to test it out. It's got that rubberized handle as well, which I don't really like, because over time, the more you use these, they tend to kind of break apart, degrade, and get kind of sticky, I suppose. The material starts to break down, get moisture in them. So I don't like the rubberized handle. That's why I like the micarta handle. Let me go over here and just check on the comments, see if I'm missing anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to bother reading that because I'll get lost. This one, I put this on here because I just wanted to tell the story of it. This is kind of cool. This is a 1907. This is basically a prop, a 1907 British Bayonet, which is pretty cool. And I have a feeling, I don't know the backstory on this, but I have a feeling that it was actually used during World War I. My father-in-law, after he passed, I got this from him, so I don't know the backstory on it, where it came from and all that. Unfortunately, with this, a couple things, unfortunately, it's cut in half. So it broke at some point. And that's why I wish I knew the story, because it's supposed to be the full length of this. You can tell that somebody tried to scrape on it a little bit, which is too bad. You want to keep the patina and all that stuff on there. Not that this is worth anything because it's broken, but I just think it's kind of cool. Something that from World War I, just kind of neat. The other one, this is kind of similar to these other 2 knives that I was talking about, this Gerber and my Rat 5. This one I got a while back as a review because it looks pretty cool. And this, honestly, if anybody's, somebody that's not real, into the whole knife thing and isn't going to use it a whole lot, this isn't going to be bad. This is 440 steel. Again, it's painted, I guess, just to look tactical. This one, I'm not so sure about, because I'm not sure if that's a full tang or not, because you can't really tell, and there's no way to take this off. This other cheap machete thing, you can actually take that off, and it looks like it might be full tang because it's got the 3 bolts or 3 screws right there. And I want to go through that here in a second too. But this is kind of a cool knife. I mean, it looks pretty cool. The handle is that rubberized handle still, but it's weighted pretty well. It's got the pommel on the back. It's a pretty decent knife, and I think this was about $40 as well. I like this type of sheath. It's got the cutter right there, the paracord cutter, whatever. It used to have a ferro rod in here, but when you put it on your belt or on your hip, the paracord or the ferro rod fell off. And it's also got this stone back here, which I'm not so sure about. Not stone, it's rough metal basically to sharpen your knife. But not a terrible knife, but not the best. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're just starting out with this, you just want to get a good fixed blade knife, something like this is decent. And I'll go through a couple of things about blade quality and handle quality and all that as well. Let me put a couple of these up before I cut myself. This machete I wanted to go through, and then this kukri. This machete is, I don't know where this came from. Somebody probably bought it for me as a gift. Maybe I need to do like a wedding registry or something for knives so I actually get something that's decent. But I have a feeling this is a Walmart stainless steel knife. And I don't know about, like I said, I don't know if that's full tang or not. Again, with the rubber handle, rubberized handle, whatever that material is, just kind of sticky and don't like it. One thing on these, though, I wanted to mention was the sheath. The reason this is out of the sheath is because this is maybe the cheapest sheath I've ever seen. But if you put, I'm going to put this knife in here, and I'm not going to be able to get it back out because this corner right here is frayed. So if you were in a situation where you needed to pull this thing out, good luck with that, because it literally took me 10 minutes. Make sure I'm putting this in the right way. It literally took me 10 minutes, and see, I can't even get it now because that keeps getting stuck in the thing. And I'm not going to chop my finger off trying to get a cheap knife back into the sheath. But at any rate, the sheath matters. So the higher quality, whether it's nylon or whatever, the higher quality, the better. This SOG is a pretty decent kukri, and I think I bought this for myself, actually. But it's a pretty decent kukri. It's the same, they painted it black, but this is stainless steel. I think it's 420 or something like that, maybe a little bit better. But it's got the saw on the back that would work pretty well. I like those teeth. I haven't ever used this, as you can tell, so I'm not sure. Something like this, in my situation, I'm not sure that I would need something like this. Unless I was, out, if I got stuck in the wilderness or something, maybe something like this would come in handy. Way more than something like this would. But for the most part, what I'm going to need is something this size, not that sucker right there. That's a, that's a, maybe I'll give that to one of my, my kids, my grandkids when they get old enough or something. But something this size would be something that I can see myself using. But again, it's really up to you what you need, what you're going to be doing with it. If you need something for finer work, if you need something that's going to be heavier duty, Schrade makes some pretty decent knives for that kind of entry mid-level. I know Missing the River, he put a comment in one of the old bug out bag videos I did, or not old, a couple weeks ago, but he's got some high tastes, like White Rabbit was saying earlier in the chat. He's going to have some Gucci stuff. He's got Gucci taste when it comes to a few of these different tools. So Dale prices, Pat asked. Prices, like I said, let me put it back on here. Probably $20 at Walmart. I don't know. This was, I believe you can get these around $80. It's a Rat 5. They make a few different ones. This is, the Ontario Knife Company makes these, and it looks a whole lot like an Essie, because Essie, Ontario Knife Company, used to be part of Essie, and they split off and started making their own knives. But I believe you can get these for around $100, somewhere in there, which is pretty, for the knife itself, a really good price, I think. This Gerber, I think, was probably $30 or $40. I don't even know if they make these anymore, but I'm sure that they make, knives similar to this. And then this Stat Gear, probably $30 or $40, which is a little more. I think the sheath is good, and that's probably why the price point is up where it is. But I don't know. I think $40 you could probably get something a little bit better than that. But it does have a nice sheath, and it's got you can put it on your belt and all of that. So pretty cool. Let me switch back and then check the comments real quick, and then I'll get into this article. Just one thing on the article that kind of goes through the anatomy of a knife. And let me pull this article up. This is one I wrote a long time ago. I did a podcast on it as well. In this article, I've got the links to these things I'm going to pull up here below. But this article goes through quite a bit about how to pick the best knife for your needs, not necessarily the best knife, because once you get up there, like when I start talking about blade steel, I'm not going to go into too much depth because you can really geek out on that stuff, and some people do. I am not that person, so I don't get that deep into it. But right here, I've got this image of the anatomy of a knife, and I think the most important things are that it's full tang, not partial. Because the less pieces, the less opportunity for it to break. And if you're really working it, you don't want it to snap on you and not have anything. That's why for doing a lot of work, a fixed blade knife is a lot better than just your regular pocket knife. A pocket knife has its uses as well, but it's different than a fixed blade knife. And you got the thumb rise where you can kind of grab onto it. You've got the the quillion, which is basically so your hand doesn't slip onto the blade. And the edge, the tip, and the spine. There's a few different tip types. Let me see if, this is the one right here. You've got the hawkbill, you got the Tonto, which is pretty popular in the prepping circles, and then you've got the drop point, which is basically all these ones that I was talking about, and then the kukri. Clip point. This article, I don't know if I have this in the link below, in the description below, but I will add it because I found this later on. But a lot of these, it gives you what the benefits of these are. Durable, versatile, effective at stabbing strikes is the drop point. The clip point is great for detail work and ideal choice for stabbing strikes. The Tonto Blade, this is the one that's pretty popular in the prepping community. They're strong, piercing, and tactical. Maybe that's why they're popular in the prepping community, because they're tactical. The spear point, and it's actually illegal, I believe, at least it is here in Colorado, but it's illegal to have both sides of a spear point knife sharpened. The blade is symmetrical, balanced, and ideal choice for stabbing strikes. A lot of stabbing strikes. The Warncliffe blade shape, and this is almost a reverse Tonto, or maybe I don't know. They're traditional, versatile, and powerful. The sheep's foot blade is basically for it's non-threatening and work-orientated. I don't know about the non-threatening part. And then the standard blade, straight back. Blades are utilitarian, versatile, effective for both slicing and stabbing. Something like that would be good for skinning and stuff like that as well. So there's a few things that are really important in a knife, and regardless of what type of knife you're getting. Now, when it comes to price, the main thing that's going to affect the price is the steel quality. And like I said, I'm not going to get into a lot of these right here, because this is something that I have bookmarked, because if I have a knife that's got a weird kind of steel, I want to check and see exactly what it is. Like this, it's 3CR13. This, I believe, is the SOG Kukri. And I didn't know exactly what that was. And it's basically the same, I think it says here, the same as 420J2. And that is one of the worst kind of steel. And I say worst, but I don't, it doesn't mean it's terrible. It just depends on your needs. That's the reason I got this Rat 5 is because it's 1095 steel. Let me scroll down and find that if I can. 1095. I know you're in here somewhere. 1095. 1095 is a steel used in many military fighting knives and is the de facto standard for combat knives. As one of 10 series steels, the 95 stands for 95% carbon content in the steel. The 420 series of knives, this is the stainless steel a lot of lower cost knife companies use. They call it surgical steel because they make surgical instruments out of it and a lot of that stuff, but it's kind of a misnomer, and it's overused so much that it just kind of, doesn't mean a whole lot. The one big difference with high carbon knives and stainless steel is not going to rust on you, whereas high carbon knives are. Like I said, a lot of different types of blade steel in here, and if you're looking for a knife, I suggest find this article or something like that really goes through what these different blade qualities are, because this is going to be something that really it affects the price more than a lot of other things. The handle, this is something more of an aesthetic kind of thing and what you want. Micarta's good, really good quality for blade or for handle material. G10, I've never tried one, but I've heard that's fantastic as well. Zytel, I've never tried either. And these are this is kind of those ones that you kind of see at the hardware store or something, it looks like to me, with that type of handle. Bone, wood, mother of pearl, leather. I'm trying to find, evidently they don't have the micarta in here unless I already talked about it and passed it up. Yeah, they do. Or the other one I was thinking about that they didn't have was this kukri, which is the, I can't remember what it's called now, but at any rate, I mean, that's the differences. Those are the main things with picking a survival knife or something that you're going to get. Figure out what cost you're willing to spend on that, and then kind of go through the blade material and the handle material and all that and figure out what the best quality knife you can get for the price is. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that know way more about this stuff than me, how the steel is made, and that there are guys that do a lot of outdoor stuff that have specific needs for a knife. And some of them are even smaller than this, but they know exactly what they want because they've been out, they've used it, and they've done all that stuff. A lot of us as preppers don't have as many of those opportunities, so it's kind of a practice with them and all of that. And Misreading the River in the chat said G10 is slick. Yeah, never had that. You've got those those Gucci tastes though. But at any rate, I mean that is my thoughts on the survival knives. It doesn't have to be. Don't overthink it, but it is something that you're really going to want to have with you in a survival situation. It is one of those tools that can literally, I think it's one of the most important tools that you can have in a survival situation because you can literally do anything with it. If you need to make a water filter or filter some water, as long as you've got a bandana and stuff, or even if you've just got materials laying around, you can make a field expedient water filter with that, with the little pyramid and stuff like that. If you need utensils, you can carve utensils out of wood. You need tent stakes. I mean, a knife is going to be necessary in a whole lot of situations, and you're really going to notice it if you don't have one, or maybe you have just your little folding knife and all of a sudden that sucker breaks because there's so many moving parts. Same thing with multi-tools. So many moving parts that something is bound to break. Now, I talk about with these knives, while I'm mentioning multi-tools, I talk about these knives where it's you don't have to get the best that there is. Multi-tools and pocket knives, I think probably you want to kind of upgrade on that because you do want something that is going to last for what you do. I've got a bunch of pocket knives, but the one that I have in my pocket, the only thing it ever gets used for is opening boxes and stuff like that, maybe cutting some string, nothing real big. So it's not real important to have that knife that is the highest of quality. But as an everyday carry item, you do need to think about that because you just never know what type of situation you're going to be in. So I do in my truck have one that is higher quality, and I'm drawing a blank here. Can't remember the name of it. But a quality knife, basically. So at any rate, I'm going to walk through the comments. If anybody has any comments, suggestions, or anything like that on the bug out bags, on anything that we talked about tonight, knives, anything like that, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get to those. Brandon said 420 steel are great knives for separating seeds and seeds and stems. I guess I ought to read the full comment before I actually, start reading on the air. But yeah, 420 knives. That's makes a whole lot of sense. So, tools that make tools are the best. Brandon also said in there. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think that's it tonight, everyone. Adam, Brandon, Pat, Misreading the River, everyone in the chat. I'm going to forget a lot of people, so I'm going to stop going through names here. But I appreciate you all joining the video tonight. As always, if you guys have suggestions, Greg, as always, if you guys have suggestions on content for videos and stuff, let me know. I'm going to try to do once a week. I'm going to try to do a live stream. I've said a couple times that it'll probably be Thursday nights, but that might change. It might be Saturdays. So I just don't know yet. And I am going to try to do those once a week, though, as well as uploading some other stuff during the week as well. So, and we also do the shows. Me and Brian from Mind for Survival do the shows over at the Survival Preppers a couple times a week too. That one goes a little bit off the rails and gets pretty political over there. So just know what you're in for before you check that out. But it's a fun show and it's definitely entertaining. So with that, everyone, I appreciate you joining in tonight, and I'll talk to you next time.